And truth be known, in my belief, in my opinion, rap is a message. Rap is the skill. Rap is the ability to put the message together, the rhythm, the rhyme, all of that. Even the beat, even if you got rap beats and hip hop beats, they're not the same. But hip
Yeah,
hop become a vessel where when we hear hip hop, we don't necessarily think, we don't always think about what I would consider to be, well, not even what I would consider to be, but the most righteous things at that moment. A lot of times when people think hip hop, it's a lot of self. It's a lot of, I got this, I got that, I'm this, I'm that. And that's actually a spirit. That's actually different from rap. Rap is not a problem. I'm not even saying I'm not even saying the music or the beat making itself is the problem. It's the ideology behind it. It's the message. It's the energy that you put behind it. That's a
yeah.
whole other thing altogether. So rap is the message.
Exclusive interviews, global voices, real stories.
We got ETANO with us today.
What's going on? What's going on, y'all? How y'all doing? Nice to meet everybody that's seen me for the first time, and for those of you that's checking in and already recognizing, what's up with y'all?
Okay, could you tell us what part of the United States you're at?
So I'm in North Carolina right now. I'm in Greensboro, North Carolina for North Carolina A&T's homecoming. Just out here networking and promoting.
So I've heard you say some artists find music, but others are chosen by it. When did you first realize music was part of your divine calling, not just a hobby?
For me, I would honestly say it was a process. It wasn't kind of like a all at once moment.
Yeah,
I started writing when I was 13. I tried to keep it a secret that I was a writer. Like I didn't want people to know that I was really into music. But
yeah,
I would honestly say it really hit for me, honestly, after I made a diss record with my boy.
yeah.
Yeah. And I was about
Okay.
20 around that time, maybe 19 around that time. But I figured at that time period, if I could get people's attention that way, I probably should develop my message and my sound. And over
Yeah,
time, I grew with that. And then it really got to a spiritual level for me within I would honestly say last 2 years. And that's where, the transition from brass to Etano really came into play.
yeah. Okay, so you've also described your journey as one of rebellion and redemption. What was the moment that made you decide to hand it all over to God?
Ooh. This is for my people who God has to sometimes come to. For me, honestly, I was actually in jail.
Yeah,
It was today. It was October 10th, 2000. Tag on, what was it? 2022. 2000, yeah, 2021, where I was actually released from jail.
yeah,
And honestly, I still stand on this. I did not commit the crime, but I definitely went through the case, and it was a moment of reflection for me. Um, October 10th is a very important day in my life anyway, but
yeah,
the same day that I was discharged from the military. Um, so I had a lot of shortcomings on just always surrounded around, this day. So henceforth, me dropping the song that I released today too, just letting people know like
yeah,
God got me through all this adversity. But it was
yeah.
definitely,
To let the people know as we're recording this, this is October 10th. So,
yeah, this is October 10th, y'all.
yeah,
Those of you
blessed
that
day.
don't know, yeah, look, I talk, man. I ain't gonna lie to you, I talk. But
Yeah,
it was it was it was in that time period where I was going through the most. I was going through a big struggle in my life where I knew I wanted to do something positive, but I didn't necessarily know how to go about it.
yeah,
So I was really just learning how to fast. I was praying often, and it seemed like things would sometimes get worse, but I kept the faith. And one day I just had, really and truly, I had a encounter with Christ, and that was the one where I said, okay,
yeah,
if if the Almighty God is willing to meet me where I'm at right now, then I need to really try to develop myself and do better, get closer to him.
Yeah.
it wasn't all at once, but it definitely that was the spark for me.
Yeah. You could always look back and see the footsteps.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's crazy what it's I say this, it's crazy what people overcome and what they go through that brings
yeah.
them closer to God. True.
You also have a song, God Got Me, which sounds like a bold statement. When did you first feel called to start making music that carried the gospel instead of just the grind?
When I could no longer make the old music that I was making comfortably.
Yeah.
I was broken down, honestly. I feel like this happens with a lot of people too. God will take you, and it's not to destroy you, but He'll break down the foundation that you built. Or if you've gone too far outside of His will, He'll bring you in. And for me, it got to a point where I no longer felt comfortable making the same music. I didn't want to curse in my music anymore. I didn't want to keep making this sound of rebellion because I felt like that wasn't conducive with, the Lord's will.
Yeah.
So I would say 2023 was when I couldn't do it. I seriously remember in the spirit. I remember in the spirit being told you will not be able to do this. And I was just like, of course I can. I've been rapping for years. And
Yeah.
then seriously sat down in the booth and I was like, I can't come up with any lyrics. I couldn't come up with anything. I couldn't come up with something that sounded destructive because that just wasn't me anymore. And so I just said, you know what? I'm gonna make something inspirational. That's where I was really going, not Christian rap, but inspirational. And that's
Yeah.
when the song was Out of Problem. But then after that, I just felt like if I'm gonna make music that lasts and have a message that lasts, I need to do it for God. And that was where, God Got Me comes into play. I love the song, and I just performed it last night at a Crazy Enough at a bar and lounge.
Yeah.
And telling people, the message for them, the message that was in my heart to tell them was no matter how far you've fallen or how high up you feel you've gotten, God's got his hands over all of it. And I feel like it reflects just my journey up until that point, you know.
Yeah. You said you pray before creating, that every song starts with surrender. What does that look like in your creative process day to day?
Hmm. Nowadays, a lot of times I get my best material right after I fast.
Yeah.
Um, like life gets a little cluttered sometimes. But right after I fast, it's like things are more clear. I can feel beats better. I can hear the spirit better. And sometimes, a beat might inspire me to write something. And then I'm like, Lord, what do you want me to say? Like, what do I feel right now? What checks out in my heart right now?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a prayer, and I say like, Lord, what is it that your people need to hear from me today? Because if I just write it off of what I want to say, it might not hit. It might not reach who it needs to reach because it just came from me.
Yeah.
But I treat myself like a vessel now, and that's what I am. I'm a vessel. I'm carrying a message. I'm spreading the message, and it is reaching the ears that it needs to reach.
Okay. Yeah, I hear that. You've also mentioned sometimes the lyrics come before the beat. When you wrote God Got Me, which came first, the message or the melody?
You know what? God got me is a little different. So making God got me, I heard the beat. I'd already gone to a studio session and had made a couple of Christian rap songs that I thought were decent, but they didn't necessarily have the spirit behind it.
Yeah.
Um, but then one day, my guy, Be Yourself, producer out in Buffalo, New York, he posted a clip on Snapchat, and I heard it, and I was like, man, that sounds really good. So hit him up. I bought it, and I went to the studio. I had not really, I had written some lyrics, but I hadn't really had a full verse made yet.
Yeah.
And I just knew I wanted to make a song that told like that was yelling, God got me. Like I wanted people to know God got me, God got you, God got us. I wanted people to have that rallying cry and
Yeah.
feel that excitement. And the hook. actually was completed before the verse, but the hook was freestyle. I didn't have the hook written down at first. And so I just went in there and I just told the engineer, hey, I'm gonna go in here and I got something in my head right now. I'm gonna just do it right now. And he was
Yeah.
like, all right, cool. And I went in there and I was like, God still got me. God still got me. The hating on me, God still got me. Waiting on me, God still got. And he was like, I remember the engineer was like, what? Where'd that come from?
Yeah.
I said, that's how I'm feeling. I said, that's the spirit is hitting right now. And then we recorded the first verse and laid down the hook again, second verse, and that was a wrap right there.
Okay, okay. You also said rap is skill, hip hop is spirit. That's powerful. Can you unpack what that means for you personally and spiritually?
It's a little controversial, because some people would disagree, others might not. I'm gonna
Yeah,
have to I'm gonna have to piggyback off of Pastor Craig G. Lewis on this one because he talked about his encounter with a man who actually had the spirit of hip hop, and it turned this timid man into this kind of like gangster, basically. He started acting kind of hard, acting tough,
yeah,
and his disposition was a little different. But what I mean, because a lot of times, especially in black culture, we liken ourselves to hip hop culture being the same as quote unquote black culture.
yeah,
Um, and truth be known, in my belief, in my opinion, rap is a message. Rap is the skill. Rap is the ability to put the message together, the rhythm, the rhyme, all of that. But even the beat, you got rap beats and hip hop beats, they're not the same. But hip
yeah,
hop become a vessel where when we hear hip hop, we don't necessarily think, you know, we don't always think about what I would consider to be, well, not even what I would consider to be, but the most righteous things at that moment. A lot of times when people think hip hop, it's a lot of self. It's a lot of, I got this, I got that, I'm this, I'm that. And that's actually a spirit. That's actually different from rap. Rap is not a problem. I'm not even saying I'm not even saying the music or the beat making itself is the problem. It's the ideology behind it. It's the message. It's the energy that you put behind it. That's a
yeah,
whole other thing altogether. So rap is the message. Hip hop is a spirit or is the spirit. And I think people have to know. Like I don't even think that there's such thing as Christian hip hop. I don't think you could put the spirit of hip hop with Christian. I think rap
yeah.
works because the message is Christian
Rap.
message.
Okay, I hear what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, I get what you're saying. You also have slum punk that you say represents rebellion, and God Got Me represents renewal. How do you balance those two sides of yourself, the soldier and the servant?
Feel like a soldier and a servant are the same. Slum Punk was made and came at a time where, yeah, I was young, rambunctious. I'm still young, but like my mindset was in a search. I was searching for an identity, and I was touring, and I was, out with my boys. We making music, and we were taking music very seriously. We're going from North Carolina to New York at the drop of a hat for different opportunities, and I feel like Slum Punk is basically your go. I'll say this about Slum Punk. Slum Punk, the sound and the culture of it, it's not about destruction, anarchy. It's not about pure rebellion against like
Yeah,
society. It's about one, separate yourself from what we call the norms and be you. And so Slum Punk, I don't feel like it's something that people can necessarily choose to be, but it chooses you. It's something that either you are or you're not. Kind of like either you got that hip hop flavor about you or you don't.
yeah,
Um, when it comes to God Got Me being the renewal, that rough sound, that gritty sound that I use my vocals with, that's still very much slum punk. That's still very much identified as slum punk. But
yeah,
the message is grown. It's grown from just it's grown from rebellion to now it's showing a whole nother side. And it's kind of like I tell people, Slum Punk has five pillars. There's five pillars to this thing. And it's just like hip hop. Hip hop has four. It's a whole nother thing in
yeah.
itself.
Yeah. So you talked about your journey a little bit before. For those that don't know, I know you've faced loss such as jail, military discharge, and spiritual warfare. How did those experiences prepare you for this moment as an artist of faith?
I like that question. It took me through trial and error. When doing faith-based music, you
Yeah,
have to deal with one, especially when you was a secular artist, you have to deal with the transition. People might not accept you that once did accept you. You know, some people truly befriend our sin. Some people truly befriend a version of us that God Himself didn't necessarily set us on a path to. And
yeah,
that can come with fans, that can come with family, that can come with friends. And if you're blessed enough to have, you know, people that accept you when you grow, well, then you truly are blessed indeed. I feel like the trial and error it showed me God's divine mercy. It showed me His grace. It also showed me His strength.
yeah,
And it showed me three things that I'm gonna have to have in order to walk this walk that I'm on now because it's not always gonna be peaches and cream. Sometimes your ministry might be in the
oh,
middle of a bar, like
yeah,
mine was last night. Because that's that's where people who truly love God, but sometimes they got a little lost or maybe they just haven't found people to connect to. That's where they might be. So, you know, I had for a second I had to deal with people not even listening to what I was saying. And then it got to a point where they was all for what I was saying. Now they were saying it with me.
yeah,
So we having church in the bar. I mean, I know that's a little. I know not everybody would agree with that, but I am a firm believer in. It's no different than when Jesus sat with Matthew and Matthew took invited him home and he had dinner, and everybody was like, "You're eating with tax collectors and sinners." This is Jesus we're talking about.
yeah,
You know, he met Matthew where he was, and Matthew decided to follow him. And I
yeah,
think I think people that would look at things like that might want to take a look at Luke 9:23. Know that people can pick up their cross wherever they were.
okay. You've also said the gospel is my weapon. What battles are you fighting with that weapon right now in culture, music, or personally? Yeah,
My flesh, I'm saying that because as a young man, it hasn't been the easiest. It hasn't been the easiest to necessarily, make this transition as fast as I wanted to.
yeah,
There's things that I've already overcome, and then there's things that I still want to overcome. And I feel like it's the test. You know, it's a
yeah,
it's definitely a test. I've been delivered from things that I thought I would never let go. I thought I would never let them go, and I had to get down on my face fast and follow the Lord's instruction, and then it was just something. It was no longer a desire.
yeah,
Um, there's others where I feel like the enemy would definitely want me to doubt the Lord's power, but I have to ask myself constantly. There's a reason why God relieved me of one thing, but might have left a thorn in my side for another, and it's always to bring you closer to Him.
yeah.
That's
And
some of
if
the stuff I went through.
you've said hip hop is being used against us, what do you think is spiritually happening in music today?
I feel like this is heavy on God right here. I feel like God is trying His best to draw His people in, and it's not just about black, white. If anybody listening to this, if you're still stuck on race and color, you really need to come out of that because that's part of the trap too.
Yeah,
But when it comes to hip hop, the more that I study it, the more that I look at its origins, how it came to be, where it came from, and even with rock music, blues, jazz, all of those things that we as human beings, we have called them culture, and we have taken them on as identities. And truthfully speaking, if it can be weaponized against you to a degree where you're actually visibly seeing the manifestation of destruction in people, you have
yeah,
to ask the question, did this really come from God? Because, and this is why I say that, a lot of people who love hip hop, they say that, well, hip hop wasn't always bad. Hip hop wasn't always negative. And there's hip hop artists who are good. By man's description of good, there's hip hop artists who are good. But when I look at it, hip hop changed so fast, it couldn't have not been like I said, I believe hip hop's a spirit. It could have not it 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 just it couldn't have not had that somewhere ingrained in its core, you
Yeah,
know, if it wasn't I say it like this. It's a big difference between Grandmaster Flash, a child is born with no state of mind, blind to the ways of mankind, to 4 years later, NWA, F the police. It's
yeah,
a it's a big difference between, men wearing suits in the 70s and the 60s because we want to represent ourselves as a culture, and represent ourselves as strong, united, fam- family, or, you know,
yeah,
family, structured.
yeah.
And
I could see that meme.
yeah, and within 10
What
years,
the 60s with the how the young people were dressing, and then the 2000s how young people were.
we're talking about within one person's lifetime. Like, imagine if you were a person that was born the same year hip hop was. You're now 52 years old, and within 52 years, we went from one way to glorifying the exact opposite
Yeah,
within your one lifetime. That's spiritual. That's
yeah,
spiritual. The things like that. Good things last. Good things last longer. Good things become pillars. Things that are not of the Lord, that are outside of God, they switch, they get mixed up, and then they have to change because lies extend. Truth is, lies extend.
yeah. So how can Christian artists reclaim that spirit of hip hop, not just the sound, to bring healing instead of harm through the.
You yourself have to be a pure heart. If you yourself as a musician, this is for all music. If you yourself as a musician have God's will as your intent, then it will show in your music. If you are willing to deny the world's admiration and things that the world is saying is good and great and all of that, if you're willing to deny that for the message of God, it will show in the fruit. And so for Christian artists, we got to remember, take a strong stance. Don't let the world beat you up. Don't let the enemy claim a victory over you. If you slip, get back in the line, like I say in my song. But you got to know this is war. We're literally in a spiritual warfare. So you have to arm yourself with the word. You have to believe it. You have to spread it. And I'm not saying go out there and just separate yourself from people to the extent of you holier than thou. You so heavenly bound. You know earthly good. I'm not saying do that. I'm saying you have to learn what it means to be like Jesus. Jesus walked this world and he was Jesus. He still
Yeah,
maintained. He still remained being holy. You got to know what that means. So as we walk our paths and as we grow, well, accept that we're not perfect and accept that as we try to get better, it will show in our music. As you try to get closer to Christ, it will show in your music. Somebody needs to hear that. I was just hearing on not sorry I'm running on a little bit, but I was just hearing on Instagram some of the influencers were saying, why are Christian artists rapping about overcoming stuff and not just glorifying the Lord's name? Well, maybe that's where God got them. Maybe
yeah,
maybe that's the level that they're on right now. Maybe that's the best that their soul can put on a track. Who are we to say that God is not using them to talk about what they have to overcome every day? So somebody else will start trying to work on what they got to overcome now. So
that's true. It's funny because what are your thoughts on artists such as Tupac, DMX, and Kanye, who were openly with their faith, but also had struggles and darkness that they had to overcome? What could people learn from artists like that?
Worldwide Entertainment TV is back, where culture live, legends rise, and stories matter. Catch us on Brooklyn Free Speech HD or stream worldwide.
Yes, check it out, man. This is your boy Akon, and right now you got it locked to Worldwide Entertainment TV. Keep it locked.
So I feel like those guys in particular, they, well, three deep individuals. So somebody like Tupac, for example, who was actually taken away in his prime, and then you got somebody who like DMX, who he didn't necessarily live to be, a senior, an elder, died at 50 tragically, and then you got somebody like Kanye who's still around, we could see his battle. With each one of these guys, we as believers, we have witnessed and are witnessing the the truth behind what it means, in Ephesians 6:12, when it says we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but principalities. These are individuals who their fight with principalities were very open. It was very visible. I know one thing, especially when we're talking about the music industry or any industry that's, we would consider a high level industry. You have, you have just, I'm not trying to be the conspiracy guy, but you have a conversation about selling your soul, or deals with the devil that circulate often. And these individuals, they all have something in common. They all took a part of a lifestyle that ultimately would have led to their demise, or did, because Kanye is still alive, which is why I say would have. But they woke up to what it's really doing, because as men, we do have these moments where we realize, like, hold on, I can't think like a young man no more. I can't just be blind to this. I see where I have influence over people, or I see where my influence has this effect. I should probably get closer to God with this.
Yes.
And it just shows you that even that people, when we're created, when the Lord creates us, he gives us the purpose that he gives us, and the enemy tries to distort that. He tries to twist that for his purpose. Kanye West is a genius musician. He really makes great music, and this was not a talent that was just happenstance to be in him. It was something that was God given, that was made to serve God's purpose. And the enemy comes in with these riches, these promises, these things, and then takes them all the way as far left as he can, until now he has to live there in order to keep everything that he's obtained. Or if
Yes.
he wants to lose it all, if he goes to God as open as he tried to, he loses things. Same thing with Tupac. Tupac, he woke up in the end. We're talking about a guy that was 25. It's amazing how much his impact
Yes.
actually outlasted him. He passed away 29 years ago. The man was 25 and wrote with such depth and had so much talent. And it took 8 years of him working in the music industry and in film for us to get what we know about him. And
You made a point because I think a lot of people forget how young he
he was
died. Yeah.
25.
Yeah.
I'm 29 right now. If you measure my entire life off of everything that I did from 18 to 25, you would have a very small understanding of the man I became, and or the man that I'm meant to be.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
DMX came up harder than the average bear. I'll say he had to deal with things very early on. I know he talked about one time there was a situation when he was about 14 or 13 where a mentor of a mentor of his gave him weed laced with cocaine,
Yes.
and that's something that affects the very development of your mind. You can have anger issues, attitude problems. I think with guys like this, we have to understand how God looks at things as much as we can. God knows exactly what happened to every single one of us. He knows our traumas, he knows our pains, he knows our talents, he knows his placement for us. He knows everything that developed our mindset, and that's where his mercy and his grace is so important, and it's so pivotal, because where we're looking and we're like, oh, these were secular artists, oh, this is what they talked about. God's like, I know exactly what I made them for. I know exactly what they lived up to. And we got to remember, salvation is offered to us until our very last breath. Maybe Tupac didn't go around talking about Jesus Christ, my Lord and Savior, but he definitely tried his best to put it in music. And he was a young man. Man was probably scared. Like, he had a lot going on. Got shot, then went to prison before he could
Then
even heal.
his whole lineage with the Black Panthers, with his mom and everything too.
Like, the man grew up around what society might call rebellion, but what he saw as trying to have your own and trying to build. And he didn't necessarily have what you would call a normal life. And in that short amount of time, look at what he was able to do.
Yeah.
He's still in conversation today. If you want to be considered a great rapper, you're going to get compared to Tupac.
Yeah.
And that's just where it is.
Yeah. Because did you see the Sora 2 AI videos with Tupac and Michael Jackson over the weekend?
Are those not crazy?
That is very crazy.
That's
Like
crazy.
it got really good. I know it, I know
Yeah.
it was coming because I've had this conversation with some industry people, like Zay Zay. He told me probably like 2, 3 years ago this stuff was there. Because he's
Yeah.
interviewed people like Ice Cube and everything, and we were discussing it, and he's like, the thing is crazy because he was telling me he was seeing commercials made from scratch, and it was all AI. So but you know when you're hearing it and it's not out yet,
Right.
because the one that we got last year it was still good even a few months ago with Google VO3. But now to see the Sora coming out and it's like seeing Michael
It's
Jackson and Tupac in the same
hanging out.
studio, then Bob Marley. The thing was crazy.
It's
So,
it's
as someone who's both a fan and a believer of these artists, what's your thoughts on AI doing things such as that?
I'm gonna say two things. I'm gonna say two things. On one note, it's kind of cool. It's kind of cool
Yeah,
because we're able to, for fans, you're able to have these people with you, just a piece of them, even if it's not real, you're able to have them again momentarily.
yeah,
I remember looking at Outlaws member Edie Amin. He talked about this recently, like just a couple of
yeah. I
days
was just
ago.
thinking that when you were saying it, I was just
Yeah,
thinking, remember Edie
like
kind of saying something similar. I was thinking that when you just said it.
it's cool, but what about the people that really knew them? There's
I know
that. And then there's the other side. I always think about, the enemy. The enemy is so, he knows what he's doing. He's not, people underestimate the devil. I'm going to just say it like that. People underestimate him because whereas this is cool, it is entertaining, there's also a version of it that's going to split your mind from reality. These people are gone. They're really gone. But
yeah.
yet there's new music being released. Now what you're gonna start having is kids like, oh mom, Tupac made a new album, and he didn't. And after a while, they won't be able to tell the difference between music with some soul in it and music with absolutely no soul at all. It's just words.
Well, it's crazy because I just had this conversation last night, and I said I seen the 50 Cent posts with the AI using his music as if he was in the Motown era. And the one thing when I had that conversation with Zay a couple of years ago, he was saying, is it going to have the soul? Is it going to have like that human aspect? But then when I'm hearing this latest stuff last week, I was like, those voices kind of have the soul now. That soulful singing, not the soul, but the soulful singing.
But would you consider yourself to be a music enthusiast?
Oh yeah, oh yeah,
So there's this one song. It's a AI Tupac and AI Michael Jackson song, and I can't think of the name of it, but I've listened to it 100 times because I
yeah,
think the song sounds good, but it's something. It's I'm analyzing the song, and I'm like, it's definitely missing something. Like people who grew up listening to real music
yeah.
and listening to vocals and stuff, we know when we're literally hearing something that hits like right here. Like you feel certain things your soul
Yeah.
and your mind just not gonna be able to
And you
separate
know
from.
what's so crazy as you're saying that? We have a DMX clip from the late 80s. Everyone's saying it's 90s, but Miss Goldie, Yonkers First Lady that does the content from America and everything,
Yeah,
she's saying it is DMX. And she was saying it was late 80s because she remembers, because DMX basically lived like right in front of her when she was young.
right.
So she's verifying it's DMX, but also like an hour ago, people's leaving comments under one of the clips saying this is AI, this is not really DMX, and I'm like, this is kind of scary that people can't tell that's
They
DMX.
can't tell. But
It's
I
because he
mean,
has his hair and he's a teenager. They're thinking it's AI, but it's actually DMX.
now
But
let's fast
I was
forward
thinking this
this.
is getting crazy. They can't tell the real end from and I think the influx of comments we're getting is because of the Michael Jackson and the Tupac and Bob Marley and Biggie stuff from
Yup.
Sora last weekend, because that clip's been there since March.
Yep,
But now more comments, I guess it's out there now because it's almost 500,000 views. People are saying that, and we keep on responding saying, no, this is actually DMX.
yeah. This is a that's but see that's showing you already the danger of
Yeah,
it. It's the danger is people. We live in a digital age, and it's not an old age. Like you, Gen Z doesn't know what it's like to live without social media. They don't remember that. For
I was
those of
just talking
them,
to my friend,
you
and
said
she
what?
said her daughter was saying, "Oh, who's on the phone?" And she goes, "Oh, it's Uncle." And then she said, let me see." And she's like, "No, he's not on the FaceTime." And then I said, "That is crazy. A little
That's crazy.
2-year-old, 3-year-old is saying that
They
when
know.
there was a time where you couldn't see anybody while you were talking, and that wasn't that long ago."
Exactly. It wasn't, man, listen, I'm not even 30. It was not that long ago where your mama or your grandma would tell you to go outside and play. And you stay out there with your imagination, just your imagination alone,
Yeah, yeah.
for hours. And the
Crazy that I had
video,
a conversation with another friend this week. What you just said.
like
He said he sent his
you would,
daughters outside to play because he said that's
yeah.
what we were doing,
And
getting
that and
creativity up and everything, physicality. But
that's
yeah,
why we can see what's real and fake though. Because we knew the difference between going outside and playing for 6 hours straight and then coming in and play your video game for maybe two,
yeah, that's a point.
compared to now they only go outside to get on the bus
Yeah,
or to play the sport or to play their school sports. So now you've limited their reality time to school. They only outside playing when they're
yeah,
playing football or soccer or these sports. They're not really going out there to hang out with friends the same way. Nope, everywhere has to be inside, closed quarters, controlled environment. We basically just made a generation of mental test subjects. And the test now is, can they tell if it's real or fake? And the answer is most times they really can't. And it's not just the young people, it's the older ones, but
yeah.
the
Because
young people are,
yesterday I showed my mom the Michael videos, and she said,
she
"Oh,
was
that was
blown.
before." And I'm like, "That's not Michael. That's completely computer generated." And she was saying, yeah, but does she think I'm playing a joke at the same time? Because there are some that you can't tell.
No,
There
you
was,
really can't tell
there was
from.
a couple that when he was in the car and he was talking, and the same one with Tupac when he's holding the selfie. I said, yeah, if I didn't know thing, that would catch me. But certain things. I saw the joke when the Tupac AI said, you guys are laughing, saying, oh, this is not me, because I wouldn't be looking this way, but you forget, black don't crack. I was like, that is crazy, man. This
It's
technology,
it's
man.
and look at all the things. And it's crazy because those cool inventions still are just distractions.
Yeah,
Because while they're unveiling the comments and the views about these things, there's the whole law, there's laws changing around us. Like digital ID just became in full effect. That's a
yeah,
real serious thing because eventually the Bible has to fulfill itself. Prophecy has to unfold. And if they're already
the thing is gonna
requiring
affect.
you to get, digital IDs to work while you're looking at all these distractions, you're
Yeah,
you're you're kind of walking into the enemy's plan. And I'm not saying that to fearmonger, which I hate that word anyway, because before you used to just tell the truth, now it's called fearmonger.
yeah,
But I hate to put that in fear, but it's like, look, like people pay attention. Like Donald Trump, for example, he just changed the law. Like these people just said free speech is gone, and you're talking about
yeah,
Michael Jackson coming back from the dead in a screen with a selfie, even though he never used selfies in the 80s.
yeah, yeah.
It's
So do
crazy
you
how
think
fast this is going.
there's a danger in this as well?
Absolutely. And the people that created it said it was. Elon
Yeah,
Musk, being one of the biggest tech giants in the world, said we're summoning a demon in 2015. Um, the guy, I forgot his name, the guy that runs Chat GPT, OpenAI, he was talking about the dangers of it. All these different reports
yeah,
about AI creating its own language, choosing to kill instead of be turned off. That stuff
yeah,
is real.
yeah, yeah.
And we've started trusting it in 2 years. We trust AI faster than we trusted the internet.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
true. So, have you heard about through Atlas?
Oh, put me on.
Well, it's they're saying they thought it was a comet, but now a couple of scientists, I think Avi Loeb is the person's name. He was the first one to say this might not be a comet because the way that it's acting is not comet-like because it doesn't have a tail and everything, and it just passed Mars. They said, and it's close by the sun. But now they're saying they're seeing objects around it as well.
I did I did hear this. Yeah,
Yeah.
somebody taught me about this.
So some people think it could be biblical, or it could be stuff like the fallen angels, or Christ and the chariot with the angels coming back. There's all this talk of what the thing could be, because they said NASA and the government shut down, and they said NASA has stopped reporting on that entity, I guess. But
Now, why
some
would you
other
stop?
people, they have telescopes saying they could still see it, but it's moving weirdly. Like it goes fast and then slow, fast and then slow. So some people thinking maybe it's some biblical thing that's about to happen.
I am in the belief that all of everything we're seeing is biblical. We live in biblical times. If there was another Bible written, they would write about the 2020s. They would have to talk about the speed at which things are accelerating and the signs that we're seeing, these large earthquakes. But speaking on that, I am under the impression that one, and I don't know if you're aware of Project Bluebeam. Are you aware of that? You ever heard of
Yeah,
that before?
yeah, I've heard of
Okay.
Project.
That's gonna happen. That's gonna be used. We were watching a hologram Tupac and Michael Jackson performance, and the Tupac one happened, I think, a few months before the Michael Jackson one, and the Michael Jackson one was extremely, extremely more advanced than the Tupac one in
Yeah,
just a matter of a few months. I can only imagine, in especially in this world, we have satellites encircling every part of the globe in the sky that we can now bring up images in the sky that look like angels flying. Or, I mean, we already do it for concerts. People already do it in Mexico for concerts. They do it in China for shows. They show you that they can do these things. But then on another note, there are really, and y'all can call me whatever, but a Bible thumper or crazy, whatever, there are angels. There have been people to see angels. We watch falling stars and we wonder, that's just a comet, or maybe it's not. We don't actually
yeah.
know everything
Because
going on out
the
there.
crazy thing about it, the Congress had a meeting and discussion about this not too long ago, and now
Yup.
the whole thing with this comet slash could be a ship, whatever they're saying. So I think there's something definitely might be conjuring up. I don't know on
Yeah.
what side it
I
is,
mean,
but
all these rituals they do and all these different say you can only do but so much darkness before you start to see it manifest in physical time. And is that not why God flooded the world? Because people were living in darkness, delving in these practices, operating with fallen angels, operating with the occult, operating with all of these different things until finally you got the Nephilim and all of these different beings and their DNA was corrupted. This is this is what we're living in. People even back then were going from being normal human beings to some transhuman type of stuff going on. That's what the Nephilim are. That's transhumanism or gene
yeah,
splicing, mixing animals that weren't supposed to be together, and then you create abominations. We live in those times now. And eventually you're gonna get what you're asking for. You're gonna get exactly what you're asking for. I mean, as the days of Noah, is that not what Jesus said?
yeah. Because do you know about CERN?
Absolutely. I'm
Well,
concerned about
yeah, I
CERN.
know they said they turned CERN all the way up, like within the last year or so. So
Hmm.
now that they're seeing these things that they haven't caught in the telescope and all that, I think it's all connected.
You know, that's things like that come when people don't actually understand what the Bible is truly telling them. Some people read the
Yeah,
Bible and think that it's an old book talking about a bunch of old characters. That book is
yeah,
advanced. That book is so advanced it's already at the end. And when you think about things like, I remember when they said that it opened a portal that they couldn't close and they never reported anything else about it. They said they
Yeah,
opened a portal and couldn't
was
close it.
that last year with the Pope?
Yeah, it was like a year ago.
Yeah, it
I
was
want I
around
almost want to
Christmas
say
time. I remember
2023,
hearing
but
that around Christmas time. I
they
remember
said they
hearing.
opened a portal and they couldn't close it. So what happened to the portal?
Yeah,
What and then if you're breaking because they said they're trying to find other dimensions and they're able to communicate with entities through these portals. So we already know God created a veil between man and spirit. What would even try to invade and communicate with us to that degree? Why? How? I got a question for everybody. How is it that we're able to communicate with entities in a portal in another realm, and they already know to sit there and wait for our communication? They're already just ready for us to talk. Did they know we were coming? Like
yeah,
these things. This is biblical stuff. These people, like, it's no different than the symbolisms that they use. You know, the CERN symbolism that looks like a big 666 sign to me. You
yeah,
got the statue that they have in the front, the Shiva, the destroyer god from Hinduism.
yeah,
They're telling you who they serve. They tell you what they're aiming to do, and it's nothing good. They they're serving their father right now.
yeah.
And I tell people again, not to scare people, but more so to make people aware. The Bible is going to fulfill itself. You might as well get to know what's in it.
Yeah. So when the world tries to pull you back into darkness, what reminds you that God still got you?
Well, when I look around and see people and realize that we're all survivors of every major natural disaster and every human tragedy. We're all survivors of everything that we've overcome. And I know this sounds big, but it's actually something that humbles me and lets me know, like all of this stuff is going on, but I'm here. And God is waking me up in the morning. Donald Trump can press a red button tomorrow and World War III could kick off and all of us have to see it on TV. But every morning that I wake up is another opportunity that God has given me. So he clearly has his hands on me. I'm not destroyed. And I could have been. So yeah, I just when the world tries to pull me back into the darkness, I have to remind myself, and I have this battle. I've dealt with depression and the thoughts of hopelessness and things like that before. To battle those thoughts, I remember I overcame even those darkest moments. And it wasn't just if it was just by my power, I would still be dealing with those same battles. But it was Jesus Christ that pulled me through them. And if the same Jesus Christ who lived then could pull me through that, he's got me now. I'm more worried about my soul than my body half the time anyway.
Yeah. So finally, if you could speak directly to someone listening who's battling with fear, faith, or failure right now, what would you tell them?
We won already. We won already. When Jesus Christ died and was resurrected, he paid he paid the sin debt for everybody. You won already. Now have faith in him. Do not worry so much about what you can do. You can only do what these two hands and your 2 feet, if you have them both, will allow you to do.
Yeah.
You have to put your faith in someone from above, and the best person to put that into is Jesus Christ. Do not fear man, do not fear the news, do not fear death, do not fear these things. It sounds scary, but when you realize that you serve an everlasting God and being a child of God means you are everlasting as well, you just got to know life is bigger. You won already. You are victor. You live in victory. Do not live in fear.
Okay, bro. Okay. This was a epic interview still.
I've enjoyed it.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna invite you back on for these topics. Because there's another Christian artist. I haven't talked to him in a few months, but you two, if we, all three of us are online, we could do some heavy topics still. Because
I'm
you
with
you
it.
know you know you know you know the stuff. And when I'm saying certain, because when I ask certain people that, and I don't even ask that sometimes and think, because I could tell if someone doesn't know those kind of levels of things. But I saw when you
Yeah.
talk Nephilim and all that, I was like, okay, yeah, you know.
People better recognize some people are what I would say. Some people are asleep on purpose, and some people
Yeah,
God is still teaching things, so they just they're babes. You know, they still need milk. So
Yeah,
he ain't gonna open he ain't gonna open the window and show you what's going
yeah,
on outside
exactly.
until you're ready.
Yeah, for
So
some, for some people, it's probably best not even go that deep and just be more confusing to them too.
that's
So
part of the problem with people. A lot of people are digging for things. You got a lot of itchy ears, you know. A lot of people are digging for truths that were always lies, but they don't know that yet, you know.
yeah,
That's why you got people who, I hope I'm not stepping on no toes, but I might be. That's why you got people who are so gung ho about reading the Apocrypha and not following the Holy Spirit. They want
yeah,
to know, but they don't want to follow.
yeah.
So you just want to lean on knowledge that you figured out. You'll
True.
be coming up short. You'll be confused. You'll be talking a lot, but
I know. I know.
you won't know you won't know your victory though.
Yeah, very true, man. So okay, we got through. So yeah, I'll tag you and everything when the interview comes out. But there'll be pieces that will come up before then.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so people could see that it's gonna be coming.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna share it on everything: TikTok,
Yeah,
YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. We going all over with this one.
yeah, because I had of the other interview I had just before yours, I talked about the AI thing, but he didn't. How you're going through, I know you're gonna go on that
Yeah,
spiritual side because the other he was kind of knowing a little bit, but yeah, how you think that was really good still.
it gets deeper. That's what I'll tell anybody. If
Yeah,
you
I
ask the
know.
Holy Spirit, it gets deeper.
I know it does get deeper because the funny thing with the 3-year atlas, usually I wouldn't pay attention, but then I'm just remembering around the time with the COVID, it was the same
Mm-hmm.
thing. They were dropping hints and nobody was paying attention until, and the funny thing is I had a dream before, and that's why I kind of paid attention after when they were
Yeah,
first announced about and I'm like, nah, there's something else going on. There's something else going on here with this thing.
I I recently had a prophetic dream. It was three dreams that I had between 2022 and 2024, and the Lord did not reveal what they meant until August 20th of this year.
Yeah,
And I was instructed to tell as many people as I possibly could. Well, and crazy enough, one of the people that I talked to about it was actually my best friend, and she had passed away shortly after. And I was like, man, this stuff is so urgent. I need to find a faster way to do this, you know. And so I made a YouTube video. I kid you not, the enemy
yeah,
came in every way possible to keep that video from being posted. It took until about September, I have to say maybe like September 9th to get it up.
yeah,
And but now once I posted it, I didn't I didn't really get the chance to share it like that. And hundreds of people have seen it and people are talking and commenting. God is sending his people dreams and opening our eyes to what's going on. I
yeah.
get a lot of dreams, especially when I fast and clear my
Because it's
mind. And
crazy. Because you see, when we were going through that topic, I said this is weird that the thing cut off just like that. But then I
yeah,
said,
I, I, I said the same.
okay, just
My
when I
friend was
say, okay, now we're getting deep with the AI stuff and the thing cuts off, and I said, you see
my
that? That's
friend
weird.
my friend is the guy that just walked behind me. He
Yeah,
was driving, and I was like, I cannot believe. I said, that's the devil. I said, that's the devil. That's the devil. Oh my gosh. I said, the enemy did not want me to go in on. I said, he knows what he did.
yeah, yeah,
Man. So I'm glad that we was able to get back on because I was worried about that. Even my boy, he was like, that was a great interview. You know, it's
yeah.
crazy that that happened.
I know.
And I just, yeah, I'm glad we're able to talk about these things because we as believers we have to be more willing to talk about these things. The Lord is sending
Yeah,
all of us signs and messages. If we don't talk, we'll miss something.